Imagine living in a town where no one stays awake past 11:47, and if you do, you might never wake up. At exactly 11:47 every night, my town shuts down. Not gradually, not naturally, but instantly, as if someone just flips a switch inside reality itself. Every single light goes dark, every sound disappears, and every human being collapses into sleep, no matter where they are or what they're doing. I noticed it on my very first night here. The silence arrived before the darkness, heavy and unnatural, like the world was holding its breath. I moved here because I wanted peace, but I never knew peace could feel so threatening. People rush home before nightfall, shops close down early, and the streets empty out way too fast. When I asked why everyone slept so early, they always gave the same answer. People here value rest, but their eyes never match their words. At 11:46, the air itself changes. The insects stop chirping, the dogs go quiet, and even the wind seems to freeze mid-movement. And when the power finally cuts, I watch from my window as the entire town vanishes into darkness at the exact same second. Then comes the sound of deep, dull thud echoing across the streets as hundreds of bodies collapse all at once. What is happening in this town? Follow for part 2. I stayed awake that night, heart pounding, convinced I would hear screaming or chaos, but there was nothing. Only silence so thick it pressed against my ears. Morning arrived at 6:13. Power returned. People woke up, stretched, smiled, and continued life as if nothing had happened. No fear, no curiosity, no memory. I started watching more closely and realized the pattern never changed. The same minute, the same second, every night. A man walking his dog collapsed mid-step at 11:47, his body hitting the pavement hard, while the dog whimpered in confusion. At dawn, the man woke up, stood up, brushed himself off, and continued walking without remembering falling. No one ever remembered. I learned the rules without anyone explaining them. Be inside before 11:40. Never make noise late. Never try to stay awake. And the few who did quietly disappeared, like they were erased from memory. One of them was Thomas, a gas station worker who asked questions like me, who laughed nervously about the town and said one night he would stay awake just to see what happened. That night, his house was the only one with lights on at 11:47, and by morning, he was gone. His bed untouched, his belongings still there. And within days, people stopped saying his name like it had never existed. Fear should have made me leave, but obsession held me here. Have you ever felt like you're running out of time? Like the days are just slipping through your fingers, faster and faster? In the sleepy town of Viridia, that feeling is more than just a metaphor. It's a curse. My name is Leo, and I used to think Viridia was the most boring place on earth. Everyone here moves a little slower, their memories a little fuzzier. We always chalked it up to small town life. But then, my little sister, Mia, started forgetting. First it was small things, like her favorite song. Then, she forgot my name. That's when I started noticing them. Shadowy figures lurking at the edge of your vision, just before dawn. They call them the chronivores, time eaters. They don't steal your memories. They steal the very moments that create them. Every tick of the clock they consume is a second of your life, gone forever. You don't just forget your past. You lose your future. The town elders know. They made a pact with these creatures generations ago, sacrificing fragments of our lives for the town's prosperity. Now, the debt is coming due, and the carnivores are getting hungrier. They're no longer content with just a few seconds here and there. They want entire lifetimes. My sister is fading, and I'm the only one who sees the truth. The town is wrapped in a comfortable lie, content to let their lives drain away. But I won't let them take Mia. I have to find a way to break the pact, to fight back against the things that steal our tomorrows. But how do you fight an enemy that eats time itself? My own clock is ticking, and I'm afraid I'm running out of time to save us all. If you're intrigued by the secrets of Viridia, make sure to subscribe and follow our story. Thanks for watching. Have you ever had a dream that felt so real, you weren't sure if you were awake? Imagine finding a place where that feeling never goes away. I stumbled upon a town, hidden away from the world, a place called Solemnness. At first, it seemed like a paradise, The sun always hung low in the sky, casting everything in a perpetual golden hour. The people were friendly, but there was a strange, sleepy haze in their eyes, a contentment that felt unnatural. The first few days were idyllic, but then I started to notice the oddities. Clocks with hands that spun backwards or didn't move at all. Conversations that would loop, people repeating the same phrases hours apart. And the nights. The nights were the worst. Insomnus, you don't just sleep. Your dreams are broadcast for everyone to see, shimmering in the air like heat waves. They were beautiful, fantastical, but they were also being consumed. Shadowy, indistinct figures would drift through the streets at dusk. We called them the collectors. They would pause by the dream projections, and you could see the light drain from the dream, absorbed into their forms. The dreamer would wake up the next day a little more lethargic, a little less themselves. The town's secret was out. Somnus was a farm, and our dreams were the harvest. The golden hour wasn't a blessing. It was a cage. Time was broken here, trapping us in a cycle of dreaming and being drained. I tried to fight it. I tried to stay awake, drinking bitter herbs and forcing my eyes open until they burned. I rallied a few others, and we planned to escape, to break the cycle. But the collectors were always one step ahead. They didn't use force. They used our own desires against us. They would weave our deepest wishes into our dreams, offering us love, success, and happiness in a world we could control. The temptation was overwhelming. One by one, my fellow resistors gave in, choosing the perfect dream over a harsh reality. I was the last one. I saw my own dreams shimmering one night a life I had always wanted, just within reach. And I realized the horrifying truth of slowness. Survival didn't mean fighting back. Survival meant surrendering. It meant letting them take a piece of you every night in exchange for a beautiful lie. So now, I sleep. I dream of escape, of a world with real sunrises. And every morning, I wake up a little more tired, a little more content, just like everyone else in this beautiful, terrible town. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this story, make sure to follow for more. I made my final experiment. I stayed awake without lights, without sound, without resistance. At 11:47, when the power died, the shapes surrounded my house but did not enter. Instead, my door opened on its own, and something spoke inside my head, not with words, but with understanding. You can leave, but you will lose everything you remember, or you can stay and become part of the process. I realized then the town was not cursed, it was chosen, a reservoir, a feeding ground, keeping something older than humanity alive by trading years for peace, longevity for ignorance. And when dawn came at 6:13, I woke knowing things I never should have known, names of streets that no longer existed, faces of people erased decades ago, memories that were not mine settling into my mind like inheritance. And now time feels different, slower, heavier, obedient, and I know what comes next. Because the shapes no longer walk the streets, they stand beside me waiting for 11:47 when everyone else sleeps and I remain awake. By the time I understood the full truth, it was already too late to choose differently. The town was never built by accident. It was placed here deliberately, decades ago, by people who discovered that time could be siphoned slowly, safely, without violence. If the mind was asleep, they learned that consciousness resisted, but dreaming did not. And so they designed a system, a perfect schedule, where everyone slept at the same moment, allowing something ancient to feed evenly, without panic or collapse. The shapes were not monsters. They were collectors, guardians of balance, ensuring no one took more than their share. And those who stayed awake threatened the flow, which is why they were removed or converted. The notes, the missing people, the erased memories were not punishments, they were corrections. I now remember the first generation who volunteered. They lived peaceful lives, free of war, free of hunger, trading years they would never notice losing. And when their time ran out, they became what I see now, watching, guiding, maintaining the cycle that keeps the rest of the world untouched by what feeds here. That is why the town feels calm, why crime does not exist, why no one leaves angry or afraid, because Fear costs time, and time is the currency here on my last night. As what I still thought of as human eye stood outside at 11:47 while the town collapsed into sleep, and for first time the shapes spoke clearly, welcoming me by name, telling me I would remember everything now, every stolen year, every borrowed dream, every life extended by ignorance. I felt it then, the weight of centuries pressing gently but firmly onto my mind, memories flooding in of children growing old in a single night, of lovers forgetting faces, of people smiling as pieces of themselves were quietly taken. And I understood why no one here dreams, because dreams are where resistance is born. And when dawn came at 6:13, the town woke, exactly as always, laughing, eating, living, while I remained standing, unchanged, untouched by sleep, watching them with something that felt like responsibility. Tonight, someone new will try to stay awake. They always do. Curiosity always costs time, and when 11:47 arrives, I will be there, not to hunt them, not to scare them, but to offer the same choice that was given to me: leave and forget everything you are, or stay and help keep the rest of the world asleep. And if you ever find yourself in a place where everyone sleeps at the same time, do not try to be brave, do not try to be awake, because some systems only survive as long as no one remembers what is being taken. And now it is almost 11:47 and I can feel the town breathing together, waiting, and I am ready to make sure it stays that way.